Okay. So, good evening, Internet, and welcome to Super Mater Brothers Podcasting as we continue our coverage of season 22 of Big Brother USA. We are here on a Wednesday night, August 12th, as we are covering the aforementioned season. And I'm Dave Mater, one of the Super Mater brothers, and joined by my brother, Jeff Mater, little brother in this case. How you doing tonight, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. And also bringing in our other correspondent and co-host, Jaemeel Robinson. How are you doing tonight, Jaemeel?
We can't hear you.
Yes.
No.
But we are going to assume you're okay.
I am okay.
Oh,
there it is.
There you go. All right.
Now
He's on the audio. Welcome. So I know the episode finished about 20 minutes ago. If you were watching broadcast, I was kind of behind, so I just finished it like 3 minutes or 2 minutes, maybe before this stream just started. So it is fresh, as it is for you guys, but maybe even fresher for me. And the headline at this hour is the veto wasn't used.
It's too early, Dave. Too early. No, I just don't. I'm not feeling it.
All right, Jaemeel, did you enjoy this episode?
The earlier parts of it, everything Veto on was a disappointment.
Yeah,
absolute disappointment.
Right, everything after the veto. Yeah, I was kind of just waiting for them to go through the motions because I knew I was running behind, and I was like, okay, let's go here. And I guess that the most interesting thing is that there's maybe a bit of discourse in the Cody alliance potentially because Enzo and Ian aren't simpatico, but they are connected through other alliances members as we're starting to see sort of this alpha alliance around Cody form. Jeff, what was your take?
Surprise, surprise, Nicole has a backup plan. She's like, oh, I like Cody, but it's good to have a backup plan too. It's like, yeah, okay, this is what you do. You just have multiple backup plans, and then somehow, like, these all-stars should talk to each other better than some of those newbies that you played with when she won. But man, like, it's pretty obvious, like, Ian and Nicole should be huge threats, and they're just figuring this out now. This is the problem with all the pre-gaming. They get into these relationships. They go, oh, okay, well, I can't turn on this person because we pre-gamed. That should change pretty quick, hopefully.
I think it will.
Right. And famously, Derek and Dan were disqualified for pre-gaming because Nicole, you know what? I have to respect game's got to respect game. As I can't remember whose phrase that was, but it was one Big Brother player.
It's not game if you're not doing it within the house, then it's not game.
No, I know, but it's I think that's Nicole Franzel specifically, because Nicole Anthony, very different story in this season. But Nicole Franzel is ruthless. I think that's kind of what I if you were to like pick 3 adjectives for her, I think ruthless has to be one of them.
Petty, the other one.
Petty, perhaps the other,
and a whiner.
Oh my gosh, guys!
But despite all these like obvious flaws that she has, the Codys are Cody's very much attached to Nicole. Very like even though he's really warming up to Enzo, and they're the root, they're the Jersey boys, but it doesn't top his Nicole relationship. And on the with Nicole Franzel, and on the other side, you have also Ian, who is tight with Nicole Franzel. I get it more because they're both the only 2 former winners in this house, and I get it more from Ian's perspective. But I don't think Nicole would have chosen to approach Ian. I don't really know what their friendship is, the relationship. He says that they've known each other for about 5 years through the Big Brother community, and he trusts her. So there's something to her that Ian is blinded by this.
Does he trust her, or does he trust that she'll do what she usually does? So,
yeah,
it's the predictability of certain people are an asset in the house. So you might as well, keep someone like her around. Look, I understand why for Ian, absolutely, but for her, like without Ian, what's her path to the end? Because if she's there with Cody, Cody's winning. If she's there with Enzo, Enzo's winning. If she's there with Janelle, Janelle's winning. Like, you go down the list, it doesn't matter unless she plays an amazing game, a game that I don't see that she has in her. She's not gonna win unless there's another winner right beside her. And then even so, I think people like Ian met her. So like I don't think she has a path to win at all.
I mean, that's debatable. I think she could definitely beat Cody or an Enzo because she's more strategic than both those guys combined. Those
It's
guys
still
act
early
like
days of this season, but just based on what we can expect from these players, yeah, that seems plausible. That
Right.
Nicole versus Ian at the end, it will depend. I think if that happens to be the final two, I can't see this house letting that happen. But who knows?
Okay, what's up with Davon and Bailey? Like, we're a force to be reckoned with, sitting here in this room talking to nobody. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're not a force to be reckoned with. What are you talking about? Like, what's going on with Davon? Like, they act like she's like this great player. She's not doing anything. You know, maybe you should. Maybe that's a good player. You don't do anything week one, but like, man, like you can't boast about how great you are when you haven't done anything. Like, I don't know. That's just what I felt like.
Well, yeah. You got to take on that, Jaemeel, because for me, it's I guess that this episode was showing us kind of what the pairs are starting to form as. Like we're starting to see like a series of pairs. Like Cody and Enzo are a pair, but so are Cody and Nicole Frenzel, and Nicole Frenzel and Ian are sort of a pair now. Right. And I guess Bailey and Davon are also a pair, and fine. And we got Kaser and Janelle, of course, and I don't know who Nicole Anthony is with, but she was in this episode.
She was saying tonight she likes Ian.
Yeah, Ian, right. There's a bunch of the pairs are interesting. These singles are just even weirder, like David, Christmas, like
Kevin,
Kevin,
David.
I love my pick. I love my pick more and more.
A train wreck Kevin is in this season.
He is not going home, so he's a perfect pick. He's gonna touch the block so many times, but he's not going home. Like, why would you vote someone like Kevin off? There's no reason to.
No,
at all.
But why get Keisha out either? Like on the other side,
Keisha's not helping nobody. The reason why they want to get rid of Keisha out and why it would make sense is because Memphis is just sitting there, and people are under the impression that Memphis and Keisha are together. And if they get rid of Keisha, then Memphis will be theirs for the taking. But like, I think you can get Memphis without any worry, and no muss, no fuss. But yeah, I think that is the reason why you would vote out Keisha over Kevin.
Yeah, that makes sense. And like, I don't know Keisha. Like, I didn't watch her season. And to be fair, I don't really know Memphis yet either. But what I saw from Keisha tonight in her chat with Cody and her diary room session wasn't too impressive. I was like, this is an all-star player. Is she an all-star in the way that David's an all-star and that he got knocked out first? And what is it about?
She finished fourth. She
went far.
She's just not a good character. She's pretty good in the house usually with like a lot of relationships, but not so much. It seems like with this cast. But
it's if there was more singles of a certain age, then maybe. But like, she has part of her gameplay kind of tied behind her back, so she's not able to fully deploy certain assets that she has done. In the past.
So she's more of a showman's all-star, you're saying?
Well, not really. Like, what I mean is she's like, remember, she played like how long ago? Right?
12 years ago?
12 years ago. So, geez, my gosh. So like at that time, was it 30 something? She was like 30,
she is now. Sorry, I don't have her age.
Is she 42?
I
think she's 42, right? She's
like no. Yeah, I think like the oldest person in this house is 42.
There's two people that are 42. I think it's Enzo and Keisha.
Yeah. Right. So being a 30-year-old in the house, single, ready to mingle, even
different time in your life.
Yeah. Even if you're not connected with someone, you're still kind of like at play, right? When you're 42, like, it's different, right? It's 42, you're different. Everyone has like kids and like relationships and children.
She is the oldest. Yeah, her and Enzo are the oldest people in the house.
Enzo's the same age, but like it's easier maybe for a guy too. Like he just bros out with Cody, and Cody's HOH, so it just looks good for him. Like
he's the crazy dude with the stories. Like, what is Keisha?
Yeah, Keisha doesn't seem to be bringing much, not only to the house but the TV show in general. I mean,
at least Kevin is entertaining. He's on the block. He's uncomfortable. He's feeling dejected. Right, you feel sympathy for him. You feel
good DRs.
Right, he's good DRs. Keisha, like she said, we have to stick together because we're from the older seasons or something. And she's not. She seems to.
She did like like when they feeded the line, she's like, if I don't win this veto, I will be in serious jeopardy of going home, which is the force-fed line. Here you go, read this.
I'm not going home because I'm going to amp up my social skills. It's like, jeez, come on.
Here's my campaign.
I got to start campaigning or else I might be the one who's going home. And that's, I really got to get on that. It's just like, okay, like, can you come up with something original? Like, what's going on?
I'm like, why aren't people like, I see Cody's kind of gathering troops. Like, if Kevin, you're on the block, you go to Kaser and you go to Janelle. It's like, hey, are you down? Let's like bro out, right? Go to Ian. Let's team up. Let's go to Bay and Davon, right? And tell them team up. Like, gather your troops too. Like, Kaser was kind of rallying. Like, all these people, well, I have no one in the house, so I'm going to talk to Enzo. Like, you should have, like, cut deals before. And, like, you could have built relationships. It looks like he was just, casually hanging out with people, not, like, putting in work. Like, Danny's been putting in work. Danny's the most, like, in the best place than anyone.
She wasn't even in this episode.
The story here is, Cody and like Enzo and Nicole and Ian or whatever seem to have to be like the one side of the house. But why isn't like the Kevin Campbell talking to Kaser, Janelle, Nicole Anthony, Davon, Bailey? Like that seems to be like that'll be the other side of the house. And then like you got like the people in the middle or like the people who knows Christmas and David and
Christmas will be with Cody, I would imagine, right?
Tyler. Right,
and so Tyler, who made 1 million deals tonight, apparently made a deal with every person in the house. Just, I get you don't turn them down, but he's made like that's gonna bite you back too. When they compare notes, when anybody in the house compares notes on you, Tyler, aren't they gonna figure out what you're about?
He did that his first season and never bit him in the butt. So I mean,
because he was so charming and. He was the first HOH, so you write as many checks as you can. You have your team together, and you kind of, play it like you stay in that control position. Cody hasn't really written that many checks, really. So is he behind? Right. Like after this, whoever wins HOH, like if Janelle and Kaser win HOH, they're going after Cody.
Oh yeah,
right?
And probably Enzo or.
They're probably putting up Nicole and Cody for sure.
I would be okay with that.
I would think so. But
you would be okay with it.
Yeah, that's not the worst scenario.
Those are my 2 picks.
I will.
Yeah. Well, you can afford to lose one of them for the sake of this. Like, and obviously, I don't hate Cody. I am definitely not a pro Nicole Franzel, nor is anybody here tonight. But I don't get it. You have her in the draft because you had to pick between her and Keisha Bailey. Her and Bailey for the last pick, right? I just don't get it. I don't get why everyone wants to work with Nicole. I don't understand the appeal.
Here's the deal. Nicole's good at the game. Okay? She is. She's good at getting what she wants. I don't like it. I don't like the way she gets what she wants. But she gets what she wants from the producers, from the house, from other players. She's very good at it. And I think it has a lot to do with, I think she learned a lot from Derek in like her first season. And she also came back on that season. She's played a lot of Big Brother in her life. She knows how it works more than a lot of these other players, even more than like Davon or like who's played now. This is her 3rd time.
Yeah, but she's kind of early every time, right? Like Davon doesn't have the hours, that Nicole does.
No.
In the house.
Davon and Nicole are like they're not hooking up together. Davon's still mad.
Does Nicole know that?
I'm pretty sure she does.
Yeah,
Nicole is very thankful, Jaemeel, that she got that vote. She changed her life. She has to pay it back, which
How
means don't vote
how
me
is
out
it
until
that
the end.
if you were responsible for me winning $1 million, I'm calling you up. I'm not waiting till the next time I'm on a reality show to let you know.
Nicole used that to make sure that Devon doesn't want to get rid of her until at least jury.
That's like
Right?
reminding me. I'm like, I want to get rid of you ASAP. So you
No,
can
but
watch me win like I watched you win.
these are the kinds of manipulative, like mental gymnastics that Nicole Franzel plays with players, where she tries to convince Devon, you might want to get rid of me, but don't get rid of me until jury, because so it gives her time to maneuver. It gives her like 4 vote outs to like make sure she can get into a power structure. So even her biggest enemy is kind of like her friend. That's why I think she's good at the game. Like she understands how to manipulate people into not getting rid of her right away. And then like Dave was saying, like it frustrates him that people don't want to get rid of her. There's a reason. She's good at like convincing people. It would be dumb to get rid of her. Same thing with
Right.
Ian.
Have you ever
Right?
seen Nicole Franzel get mad?
Well, she's gotten whiny. She gets whiny like every 2 seconds.
Whiny, but like angry. You've never seen her have. She's never had a screaming match with anybody, or not any close to that, right? Like she's never had heat with anybody. Like a little bit with Devon, but it's different. Like it's usually people she sends out the door. She usually doesn't deal with it in the house, right? Too much. She's
I
pretty
think she
good.
has heat with Nicole Anthony because
Yeah,
of a
she does.
podcast.
Her and Danny.
And her and Danny. So
her,
who
no,
are the
her and Danny have heat with the Nicole that doesn't suck.
Nicole Anthony? Okay,
Yes.
so we didn't see a lot of Nicole Anthony tonight, other than she was in the sequence with Ian, where Ian talked about being autistic and being on the spectrum. I don't know if I knew this. Did anybody else know this in the group here?
There were suspicions, but like nothing confirmed until he talked about it.
Yeah, and it tracks. Like
Yeah.
it's with who Ian is. Yeah, it was a good moment, I thought, in the episode, and
There's some good moments in this episode. I was expecting one more from the feeds, but the Kaiser one I was really want to see how they were going to play it, and it played out just as well as I heard described.
all right.
Same thing
Nicole
with
Anthony's in that scene too, with Kaiser.
Yeah.
When Kaiser's talking about the Iraq War, when he first went into the house, and how especially like the perception of Iraqis and Middle Eastern people during that time, and him wanting to overcome that.
So there's one more speech that I was expecting, and that was David's speech. David had a speech that he told to Devon and Bailey, and I don't know if they're going to show it for next episode, or because David is a non-factor, why even waste the time? But like in the grand scheme of things, you can have the best moment on the show, but if you're not a character that the producers feel worth investing in, why bother show it?
Especially when you have this many people at this point, right? Lots of time, lots of diary room to put out there.
Yeah,
we didn't. So I don't think it's a spoiler. Like I don't, because it's already passed, right? Like it happened before all this veto stuff. So even if they show it on tomorrow's episode, I don't think it would qualify as a spoiler. But what was the nature of what David said?
Well, it was in regards to last season and the whole Jack Mickey business, and
the fact that the first 4 people were people of color who went
not
out.
Even that. It was even after that he was talking about how he's been in contact with them and working with them, and when BLM came out, there were discussions about how to approach it, and some were more accepting of that and others were not. Right, and were very adamant against it. He didn't specify who. He was pretty vague about the information that he was providing, not really want to dig up any bodies there, but it was more along the conversation about perception, his role in that perception as well, and him trying to take an approach to coming back to the game, because after that whole situation he kind of stepped away from like Big Brother and everything, so you can kind of understand why he isn't as well versed, but at the same time it seems like he's playing a little coy, I've heard. he's playing a little coy in terms of what he knows and what he doesn't know, because he's been making statements like, how does the veto work? When obviously he should know how the veto works. He was in the house for 4 weeks when vetoes were being won and used last season. So I think he's playing that up. But once again, if he's a non-factor, it's not really important. So we move on.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Like I'm curious about that because last season, and we're not here to talk about last season, but it does play into all the seasons. All the seasons that came before this play into an all-star season, especially. And the season David came from, yeah, was controversial. Not Jackson Mickey, probably one of the least popular winners to come out of a season. A lot of that had to do with how the game started, and you could call it circumstance or whatever, but like as we said, like David was the first one out, and then Ovi I think went after that, and it was also Kemi, and who am I missing? The one that was Bella, right? So it was just like like now, and then they were all like sitting on stage in those in those uniforms, like they just come out of a prison camp. So it was not a good look. It's in terms of how last season went, and I'm glad that this cast has more diversity, and we're gonna maybe see more of a chance.
That wasn't a mistake. They made sure to do that,
which is why I think Davon was making such a big deal. Traditionally, when there are POCs that don't really kind of team up together, it's very rare because it's kind of like bringing extra attention more so. So I think they were just excited to like, and also like 2 women looking like they're gonna have like an alliance that might last a little while is very weird, because anytime women start pairing up, doesn't really end up well unless there's like a guy to kind of disperse the hatred. It's like, oh no, if Bay or Day end up talking to another woman, right? They're going to be squashed so quickly, because the term all girls alliance is like the biggest fear in like Big Brother history that has never panned out. Like,
yeah, it never happens.
It never happens. So, but anytime people like sprinkle it anywhere, people are like, oh no, we got to squash it. All girls alliance, all guys alliance could like happen all day because people just bro out. But anytime it's like all girls alliance, people just start freaking out.
Yeah, like we saw it in Big Brother Canada 7, I think it was, that they had a huge guys alliance that went to the end, like Final Four. So we've seen this kind of happen, and like they cut their respective girlfriends as they kind of went along their way, right? But with the women's alliance, you're right, it's never really come to fruition. And my analysis of this is that there's always at least one member of this supposed women's alliance who doesn't care about girl power, who doesn't care about any of that, just cares about themselves, right? And and
whereas when guys are together, they all understand that it's every guy for themselves.
I feel like it's less likely, that you have a defector. Maybe it depends. It can happen in either situation, but it seems to happen more.
They can recover. That's the thing. They can recover. Mm-hmm. So, like, you think that if Day and Bay hook up with Nicole Franzel, she's not immediately like selling them out to Cody, regardless of how possibly
before the words that finish coming out of their mouths,
she's running there.
Right? There's like another player like Janelle also isn't going to do a girl power thing, because she never has historically. She aligns with guys.
Only if Kazar gets eliminated and she pairs up with Christmas as like an alpha girls alliance. That's the only way I can see it, because Janelle would want that challenge of like, we're gonna beast out, no more hiding, right? Like the women usually do. Sometimes we win or have to fight to survive. I want to be in a power position. If it was bridged to that and she didn't have Kazar, I could possibly see that happening.
Yeah, like I just don't like it's. I get why you don't want to sort of like let one gender sort of have all the numbers, but like, because there's potential that you can just be on the outs, right? I guess that could be scary, right? If the women just outnumber you vote wise, then yeah, you're a lame duck, right? Are you gonna be able to crawl out of it on your charm alone? Maybe, or I think it's maybe more possible than the other way around, right? Like if you're the one female compared to like 5 guys, like we saw that in Big Brother Canada, that they stuck together right to the end. They were a little more loyal to each other. And I think you get a Nicole Franzel, you get a Victoria, you get I'm guessing a Janelle is kind of this archetype too, who doesn't care about any of that, right? Just and or maybe they shouldn't really. It's not really. It's all about how you're going to get to the end and win. This is an individual game. It's not a team sport.
That whole girl power thing is all about getting fans to like them on the show. Like that's why they do it. Like because they want all the like little girls to be like, oh, I like that because the girl power, and I like that alliance or whatever, and that's who I want to go for. But in reality, most of them know that once it gets down to a certain number, it's going to be every girl or every man for himself. They all know that, so they kind of use it as like a thing to say in the diary room, and I don't know, like it doesn't really work for me. Like it doesn't. It's very rare for it to really work.
Any alliance, a strong alliance, has to be built on the understanding that you actually like the people you want to pair it with. And with All Girls Alliance, or the idea of All Girls Alliance, they always try to like, let's go 4 or 5 women together and let's team up. That's not the way you do it. That's not how real alliances are made. Real alliances are made because it's like a pair that get together, right? And they have a solid bond that looks like it's going to last for a while. And then additional people start added to it. Sometimes it's other guys that they're able to relate with and they're broing out, right? But the women's alliance always starts too fast, too soon, and then it just fizzles out because like you're building a castle out of popsicle sticks and it just can't support the weight. Now,
right.
the pair,
it's an obvious target.
Yeah, the pair of Bay and Day right now, when there's a ton of pairs, they don't really stand out. Now, let's say in a week or two, there's addition of another woman, and then more and more, like, or it comes organically where like another pair teams up, then it makes sense. But no, like, was it Pow Pow, I think, tried to do it? Joey tried to do it, right?
Like they all try to do it, and like it's like the
terrible players trying to get like 5-6 women in the room to team up. It doesn't work that way, right?
Pow Pow, you suck at everything. I know.
I know. I saw that recently.
Straight up, but let's get rid of him.
Fruit Loop dinguses.
Yeah, like I agree completely. Yeah, like Day and Bay though, like. I think your earlier question, Jeff, was, is this something we should be excited about? Is this
not yet?
Not yet.
They have to win HOHs. It's the only way that anybody will ever be excited about anything they do. Yeah. Because if they just lie in the weeds and just hope people save them, it's not going to happen. Okay. They have to win HOHs. This is the name of the game. This is why, like, Cody and Enzo, that's why those guys are teaming up, because they go, okay, well, maybe we'll win some HOHs. And Kaysar and Janelle, same thing. The pairs that you're seeing are people going to go, okay, I can kind of think I can win some HOHs. Ian and Nicole.
Or some vetoes or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You need some power. Like, it's good to have a bond. But if you can't win anything, what power are you going to have throughout the game? All you are is an extra vote. That's it. And you can be easily broken up once they kind of, suss you out. You're absolutely right. You need to have some power behind.
More of a competition threat than Davon is, really. Like, I think Bailey's got a much better track record in terms of wins.
I don't understand why Davon is so popular. Like, she's good in the DR, but like as a game player, she's pretty boring. Like, she needs to make more bonds with people. She makes enemies too quick. I need to see her actually play well. She should be befriending Nicole and looking to stab her in the back. That's exactly what she should be doing right now, but she's not. She's just sitting in the room with Bailey, from what I see on the TV show anyway. I hope I'm wrong in the live feeds. She's doing that.
She's been working around.
Well, that's good, because I need to see it from her in order for me to feel good about giving like for her the win. Like, if she gets to the end against somebody that I feel like was on the show more or did more strategically, I don't understand what. Like, she's popular, but she needs to prove she's a good game player. To me.
And I'm just looking at Davon's competition history. It is abysmal.
No, she sucks.
It
She's
is.
terrible.
She's won one HTR, like had part 2 in week 1 of her first season, and she's lost every single competition she's ever been in since.
Perfect goat. Lord. How many challenges has Enzo won?
Enzo. Okay, well,
I think like none. Like until like this week. He
Until
doesn't win
this
very
week. But like Enzo at least was responsible for like the brigade, right?
well. Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
he
was
has
a big
something
part
to
of-
hang his hat on, right?
Yes.
And
he
plus
was
he's
part
such
of
a
the big
charismatic.
alliance that won everything.
Yeah, and plus he was such a charismatic gentleman.
Enzo has more wins. You're right. It's bad. He won one luxury competition week 4 of BB12. He was, and he won a couple have not competition, or like he was a have instead of have not a couple times. That's it. Oh no, and he won a POV in week 8 of BB12 as well. So he has won more than Davon.
So he has 2 legit wins then, because I don't have not wins.
No, it's whatever. Who cares? But yeah. Well, I was counting, like sort of. Well, Davon has never won a have not either. But
Enzo also got to like the last day of the season. He finished 3rd, but Davon's like never even gotten past like 8th place or something.
She got to the jury 1 out of her 2 times, and it was I don't know. I have Davon in the draft. I want to root for this person. I want her to succeed. I want her get together with Bailey, who we'll see. Like these 2 by themselves, they need to align with another pair, I think, to be any kind of force. Who's that other pair that they get together with? Like, I don't know. Is David maybe one of those people? I worry about Nicole
and somebody else. It would have to be David and someone else. Like Ian and Franzel would be a perfect grouping, because they kind of like all like Bay has a relationship. She's been in the community kind of long enough, right? That she's probably hung out with Ian and she knows Nicole. Bad blood aside, right? They're all known quantities. Strategically, some are better than others, but I think it's a decent pairing at the very least. I think that you would have to include more, but it's a good beginning of a bigger alliance, right? A bigger alliance.
Well, yeah, I'm just glad that respectively Bailey and Davon each have an ally, because they're players I do kind of root for and I don't dislike, but I dislike others more than them. But at least, but I don't I need to see more. I want to see more, especially out of Davon. I'm rooting for you this season, Davon, and I need you to do something, win something. Get in there, right? And not burn your game in the process.
Yeah, you can't boast about how great you are until you've actually held some power in the game.
Yeah.
Once you do that, then you can boast all you want. But
she's gonna win the club safety garbage. Yeah. That's what she's gonna win, and she's gonna be elated, and everyone's gonna congratulate her, right? And then the following week she's gonna get voted out.
She's gonna be like, I knew I was, and it's just gonna be like, okay.
I'm just happy that I thought Enzo wasn't going to win any challenges, and he already has 1 POV under his belt. I'm like, yes, keep going, Enzo.
Too early to play it.
Too early.
Too early. And that was the other thing of this episode. I think I said it earlier. He's not going to use the veto. First of all, Kevin goes to Enzo. Enzo, I know it's early, but can you maybe use the veto on me? And it's too early. You got to talk to Cody. You got to talk to the boss upstairs. I don't make these calls. I'm just one of his foot soldiers. Hey,
I'm just a capo.
I'm just a capo regime. He's the under boss. You got to go up to the root, right?
You got to go up to the Godfather. I'm not the Godfather.
You should have done that.
Obvious to Kevin that you 2 are together.
I know.
If it wasn't already, it definitely is now.
He should have said, I'm going to talk to the house, see what the house is thinking. And if the house looks like, they're absolutely fine, because I don't want to ruffle any feathers, right? This is my first win. I'm not used to win. If he was approachable like that, it's like, Kevin, I really want to help you. And regardless of what happens, if I'm able to use it or not, you got my vote, and I'm going to definitely want to team up with you later on. That's a different approach than putting it up on Cody so that Kevin has to go up to Cody. He's like, Cody,
please,
I'm
just the outcast of this group. Please don't.
I'm not with anybody. It's like, what use are you then? What use are you to me if you have nobody? You have no information. Like, why am I even wasting my time? Right?
I think Cody likes the idea that he can have him as a number, but later down the road. But
don't you think it's a bad sign that Cody was saying like, "Oh, I like you, Kevin, and I would save you, but there's really no one else for me to put up." He was saying that in the DR, and I was just like, "So there's nobody else in the entire cast that you would want to get rid of?" And it's just like, okay, Cody's not going far in this game. If that's the way he's looking at it.
It's not that. It's like we talked about last time, Jeff, where he just doesn't want to have a fifth person that he's potentially put in the crosshairs. Like, I know he didn't nominate Kesar and Janelle, but he kind of almost did.
Right. Right, but he doesn't even say like to us in the DR who else he might consider. He should have somebody he should be considering.
Well, was it Ian? Was that conversation with Enzo
that was
legit?
I think that was the show was trying to, give us a Fugazi there.
It's a Fugazi root.
Fugazi. Mm-hmm. And I think the show was trying to, pull one over our eyes there, but I don't think it was working.
Right, because they're like, what? Ian's a winner. He's like, yeah, we're not letting anybody win again. I'm like, why is Nicole in your alliance? Why is she not a problem for you?
Because she's gonna be their goat. That's what they plan to use her.
Right, because they don't think that
everyone hates her.
And do they think nobody will give her the money at the end, like make her a 2-time winner?
I think it'll depend who she sits beside.
I would not take that chance. I would not take that risk.
I would vote her out. I would absolutely. I don't think she's gonna win, but I wouldn't also take that chance, and I would vote her out. Like, if you're gonna ride with her, you ride with her as far as you can, but make sure that she does not make it to she doesn't get past Final Four. She has to be gone.
Oh, I wouldn't even get her. I wouldn't even let her have a sniff at the jury. Like,
if she's a number, you got to keep her to Final Four.
No, because she's too dangerous. Like, she's just too dangerous of a player.
Is she gonna go on a winning streak? Like,
she's definitely been more successful in competitions than Davon, or even Enzo. And so she did pretty well, and she's not to be underestimated. And I wouldn't like the same things they're saying about Ian. He won before. All these things, like, they should also apply to her.
Because like what she would have to win, Final Four HOH. She would have to win she would have to win the veto. That's the most important thing. Then she would have to win 2 out of the 3 competitions. There's a lot of competitions to win in a row.
It also depends who else is there and what people's priorities are.
Cody's kind of hoping for him, like.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Cody said tonight in a confessional, like, well, last time I took the best to the end and then I lost. So I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to do that dumb move by taking Derek, or in this case, Nicole seems to be his new version of Derek.
And that's why Enzo is there.
And Enzo, yeah, because he thinks he probably can beat Enzo at the end. And he's probably right. Like, I know it's early, but
I think if Enzo gets a speech to a jury, I think Enzo is going to win.
Oh, okay, interesting. And why? What's motivating that? Because I don't know Enzo as well.
He's so charismatic that he you just see the way that people react to him. I think that people love stories. This is going to be a narrative-driven season. I just feel in my heart that people are going to look at it and they're like, I want to reward Enzo for making it to the end. This is his chance. And if it's Cody and Enzo, right, I think people are going to respect that more than Cody, especially if Enzo wins anything at the end, like sniffs like head of households and vetoes. Like, even if he wins less than Cody, I think he's going to win.
Okay, interesting. I don't know a lot about him other than he seems to be the new Cody sidekick. He's one of the oldest guys, and he's the meow meow or some such thing.
Meow meow.
Right?
Meow meow.
Yeah. What is that exactly? Why is he the meow meow?
It's from a story. He actually told it on feeds. My recollection of it being said was he was going out with some girls, and while in the car, one of the girls farted and blamed it on him, and he's like, "No, it wasn't me." And she's like, "Well, it's definitely not me. It has to be you." Meow meow. So it's just stuck with him, and he's like refer, like it's always come back. That's my understanding of that story. But it seems so
Okay.
weird. Like, where's the rest of the story? It's like, nope, that's it.
That's the story. He
That's
told
the
a
story.
girl that she was the one who dealt it, if she smelt it or whatever. Meow
Well,
meow.
no, she told him and then said
Oh.
meow meow at the end. Like,
Okay, whatever. It seems to work for him, and good for Enzo the meow meow. But
meow meow.
like, yeah, like okay, so you seem more pumped up about Enzo. What I've seen so far, because like I know, like where I know a player like Cody really well, I kind of know how he thinks and what to expect from him. Enzo's kind of an anomaly. A lot of these older players are like Kevin and Janelle and Keisha and Kesar and a few others.
I just want Janelle to start winning some comps.
Memphis. Yeah, like, I'm
when
excited to
HOH
see
start making people cry. That's what
This-
I'm waiting for.
the next HOH is tomorrow. Like, hopefully, we're going to get to see it in the episode. I'm hoping we can kind of know who that is tomorrow night because I think it's going to, as it always does, like, who is the next HOH? Will it be a part of this sort of Cody side of the house that seems to be forming or will it be someone very much else? I would love to see a Kesar HOH. I think a lot of us would. We would like to see sort of that dynamic, because I think the best seasons of Big Brother are when you have two warring factions, right? And what we've had in the last few seasons is there's a popular kid group that, and usually they're the best at the competitions because they have all the jocks or they have all the athletic people, or it's often the smartest people too, unfortunately. And so they're like, okay, we're going to win all the comps and then we're going to run the table and get rid of all the outcasts. And the outcasts never like band together. And recently
splintered.
It's too splintered because they're so eager. Like Bailey was like this in the season that she played in. She was so eager to be in the Tyler group. And Tyler's like, no, you're not level 6. You're like one of our peripheral vassals, right? Like, and she lost her mind. That was where she bit her cheek because she knew she was not being treated like an ally, right? Anymore. She understood that the treatment had changed. They used her, and they always wake up to it too late. And I hope that's not what we get this season. I want to see two factions.
Christmas, please don't win. Please don't win Christmas, please.
Well, yeah, Christmas is definitely a Cody type peripheral. We have to assume. We didn't see her tonight at all, I don't think.
Danny
right?
will talk to her and she'll fall in line with everyone. Like, let Kesar win, man. I want to see some blood. I want to see some blood on that floor.
Yeah, or like what happens if Memphis wins? What does he do?
I think he's with Cody.
Yeah, I think he is too. I think he's likely going to stick with that side of the house and be part of that more majority power alliance because that's the attractive.
He was talking to Danny and he said he wants to build a 6-person alliance, but he's like, I don't know who those 6 people are. But he's like, I wanted to dispel the notion that it's old versus new. So he kind of wants some young people and he kind of wants some old people. But
he doesn't want that because he understands that the old are in the minority and that they're going to get knocked off. Because that's why I thought this was a bad HOH for Cody, because he kind of targeted 4 old school people, like 4 older seasoned people, and Memphis is one of those people too, right? Well, is there an Enzo as well, but Enzo doesn't seem to count because Enzo is in the Cody alliance.
Hello, fellow kids.
Yeah, like to me, I guess we're saying that Ian is part of the new school, but Enzo is sort of the tail end of the old school. Also because of just his age, respectively. Yeah, and they're in the minority. So Memphis, of course, Memphis wants to dispel that. Like he doesn't want that to be the divide, but that's the way the trend is going. And so he has a choice. Do you get in with Kesar and Janelle, and do you kind of put yourself over with them, right? Because they're forming numbers, right? Whoever doesn't go, let's say it's Kevin. Like Kevin's, as much as he promised his life away to Cody tonight, he may just go with where he thinks he's safer. You don't say so?
Kevin's safe. Kevin's safe.
Right.
Yeah,
for tomorrow's vote.
I think he's gonna talk to Janelle.
Do you think he'll go with that group? Because why would he? Because this is what I hate. Because people who like get nominated by a Cody, right, or a Tyler, or one of these people, they tend to like then go back to that group that just like scorned them, who just nominated them. Like when Kevin said in the dining room, I don't know if I can trust Cody. I'm like, you definitely cannot. You can never trust anybody who nominates you.
Yeah. Like, look, if he wins power and the people are dumb and mention that, oh, I voted for you because Cody, right? If those like combination of words come together, then he's automatically knows that he's outside of a big group, right? And he's gonna, you know, probably if their numbers are right, he's gonna go with the other side, especially if
Yeah.
they put him up, right? He's not that dumb. He's not that dumb.
No, I hope not. I hope not. I don't know. Again, he seems a little naive based on what I've seen so far, and I don't know him as well. I don't know his instincts.
He seems oblivious to the game, like you were saying about like, and when he was asking Enzo, and he's just like, "Oh, I just hope Enzo helps me." It's just like, come on, what are you doing?
Like a hamster. It's like, help me.
You're an all-star. Like, come on, like you can't suss
Yeah,
this
no,
out.
like David,
Like-
all-star like David.
Like the
Just
older people in this house, like, and they're our age, like Jaemeel and I's age, like they're pretty close in age to us, but they seem a lot older than us in some ways. Like Kevin and Kesar, they seem old for their years. You know what I mean? Or maybe they're just because they're standing next to these younger kids. But like the youngest, it's just it like the oldest person's 42, the younger person's 25. So it's not like we're talking a big amount of years here between of the cast. But
To the younger people, they are.
yeah, I guess so.
It's like I was what 13 when you played, and you're just like, geez.
Yeah, they talk about that or and whatever. And I don't know like why that would bother. You're 10 years older, so you're in your 30s now. You're not in your 20s, but some of them just they wear it more.
Dave, we're just youthful people. That's why
They can't keep up with us. Or maybe if we ever play Big Brother Jaemeel, then we'll
You mean when we play Big Brother?
When we play Big Brother,
When we
yeah.
play Big
Because
Brother.
we're auditioning for, not together, but we're auditioning for Big Brother Canada. Because you can do it all from home now, so I think I'm gonna give it a shot.
You could have always done that. You should have applied from before.
I always assumed I'd have to stand in line for hours and whatever. And
No, I've done that too.
Have you done that too? Yeah, but I'm like, and I know a lot of people apply a whole bunch of times before they ever usually get in, so I'm not expecting anything. But I'd like to try it at least once, just for the process of it. Anyway, so do you want to go into spoilers? Do we want to talk about what we can expect heading in tomorrow night, live feeds, anything that may have happened after this Veto episode?
Sure, I'll allow it.
All right. If we're done with the episode, which I think we are, I think we broke that down all pretty well. Jeff, do you have some information about what's going on in the Big Brother house and what we can expect?
Oh, it's not Jeff spoilers. Can we have like?
Okay, it can be.
Can we have like a funny Jeff spoiler banner at the end? Or
Well, I can give you emojis. What do you want?
Fire emoji, because Jeff has some fire that he's gonna spit right now.
Okay, I can do fire.
So yeah, so Nicole and Tyler have been talking.
Nicole and Tyler are talking. Okay.
And Nicole asks, has anyone tried the talk game with you? And Tyler's like, nah. And Nicole's like, same. And Tyler's like, I felt good about Christmas, but then Memphis brought up their names. And then Nicole's all like, it's going to be like two sides next week. It'll be Nicole A, Janelle, Kesar, Kevin, Bailey, and Davon. And Tyler's like, that's a lot.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. And Nicole's like, David is like, I don't know where he is. And Tyler goes, he suggests that David is with Enzo.
For then David would be with Cody too, right?
I don't think David knows where he is. I don't think he knows what game he's playing yet.
It's so weird because David last season, the reason like everyone liked him was when he was in the camp comeback, he wasn't in the game, but and they were all ostracizing him, but he was able to read the house. He knew what the social dynamics were, but now as he's a player and he's actually in the house, he's completely clueless and oblivious to what's going on.
It seems like he's just like, he knows he's not the target. He knows like he's laying low. He's like he's like Memphis. He's just laying around all day and not doing anything. And it's working out. I mean, I guess if I could just, sit around and give myself a 1 in 15 chance at 500K, then a 1 in 14, you know what I mean? Like it just kept getting better and better.
I guess, but you also make yourself expendable, right? Like, so
Look, Cody wasn't even willing to put his name up. Like, what ties does he have, right? So the fact that Cody still felt that he was still valuable says at least something for him.
He's no threat to any.
Yeah.
He's like, David will be on the jury.
He's the only guy, he's the only person in this house that is a first boot, right?
Yeah.
Technically, yes.
And so maybe it's just that like he was already the first boot. Let him have at least a few weeks here before we target him or whatever. But like, and I'm sure everyone's like, he can just be a number for us, like whoever you are, right? If he's just a vote for you, then why not?
I'll vote with the house, is what you say. I vote with the house.
Yeah. But Jeff, who do we expect to go tomorrow? Do we expect it's definitely Keisha, 100%?
That's what they've been saying, like that it's going to be Keisha. But that's basically because that's what Cody wants. So if it does change, like basically Kaser and Janelle had a conversation, and it says, if Keisha's going to be the one to go, that they're just going to have to be cool with it. But they're not going to like actively go out of their way to like campaign against her. So like they're kind of just seeing where the chips lie right now. I think they would rather keep Keisha, Janelle, and Kaser, but I don't know if they have the numbers. So that's kind of what's going on.
Are they going to be in on the vote? Like, do we expect this to be a unanimous vote?
Well, that's what they were talking about. They're like, should we just make it unanimous if it's going to be like crazy or, so I don't think it's decided, but right now, like
from their side, what advantage do they have from voting with the house? Like, they know that, they were gunning for them. So why try to play nice at this point?
Right. Do you guys want to talk about that veto competition and stacking all the
Yes, please. Let's talk about that.
Oh, okay. So we weren't done talking about the episode, but
no, it's live feeds, right? That we're talking about, right? The discussion.
Okay. Oh, okay. So we are back. Spoilers.
Yes, fire,
flames.
Yeah. Okay. Did you hear there was a whole controversy about how Keisha, like, I didn't see it in the episode, but apparently like Keisha's stack got knocked down by somebody like running by it, or like vibrations on the floor or something like that,
like a wind gust.
You saw it right at the end there when her whole stack, and she would have won, right? And her whole stack was like, and she didn't hit the button in time because the stack fell. But there was like a whole like conspiracy theory that like Keisha's blocks got knocked off by like vibration or something. I don't really know what the deal is with that, but
there's a petition.
It's in the ether. And
what does it mean though? Like what's the rule? Was there a rule that Enzo wasn't allowed to run?
All I know is there was a petition online trying to get Keisha's to get the whole competition redone,
which they're not
because
they
were upset for Keisha, and she's just a nice lady, and
she didn't pregame.
Yeah, she should have pre-game.
She didn't get a chance to technically.
She was last minute. She basically replaced Let's Go!
Casey.
Yeah. Well, because she tested positive, right? That's why Keisha was added. I'm glad Casey's not here, honestly. Like it's fun.
I'm so glad I don't have to listen to Let's Go every.
And Nicole Anthony was also a last minute call too.
Nicole A?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good addition there. So I like this cast. I think it's interesting, but
and David.
And Keisha, even Keisha. Like I think David's more interesting than Keisha. And
yeah.
What do you like better, broccoli or Brussels?
They should have had like McRae on it so that Keisha had someone to like kind of seduce.
Apparently, they asked Amanda Zuckerman, and
McRae, no. Pizza Man McRae, man.
You imagine McRae and Amanda Zuckerman?
No. I wanted just McRae.
Just McRae.
It'd be interesting to have McRae back. Somebody from 15, like Helen or Andy or somebody.
No, they cannot have Andy back at all. Andy's like, he hates
CBS.
Yeah, he's dead.
He's like on this tirade.
Yeah.
Like he absolutely hates Nicole Frenzel.
Yeah, him, Zach Rance. Like,
there's a few people who are the ostracized. They are pariahs.
Yeah,
but Zach Rance actually on Kat Dunn was on Sister News podcast, and she said that she thinks that Zach Rance was actually called to be on this season, and he said no because he said he's been done with reality TV for a while,
and he's making too much money with his realtor business.
Right.
Wait, isn't Amanda Zuckerman a realtor?
Yeah.
They are cousins. I knew it. It was a conspiracy.
Well, Pizza Man McRae. Just imagine if like Keisha was seducing McRae. That'd have been awesome.
Probably would have worked.
It probably would have worked.
Right. But okay, I still don't understand why nobody. Okay, so I get Andy Herron can't be here because he's pariah like a Zach Rance, and you wouldn't have
brought back
that season is dead to CBS.
Why?
That season, have you forgot Aaron?
I have forgotten, but like, why wouldn't you bring back Helen? She was the victim of Aaron's
They
rage,
don't want to
hate.
reference anyone from that season. That season is like it doesn't exist anymore.
Gina Marie. Bring back the
Gina Marie. Justice for Gina Marie. Or no, we need
who was the girl? The guy that she was in love with? That
Nick.
Nick's mug he left behind. This is Nick's mug, and Gina Marie was like, basically attached to it. It was
and
like
then Nick is like dating models while he's out of the house. I love it. It was so. That season is like ridiculous. Like
that was the season that made me fall in love with Big Brother. I know it's the worst season ever or whatever. It's the most controversial.
It was the best season because it was so ridiculous.
When Julie read Aaron the riot act when she came out of the house,
it's great. I loved it. I
watch it every couple of months. It's great. If they put, you know what? I would watch a season if they put like season 15 and season 21 together. I would watch that season. Put those two casts together.
Yeah.
Last year,
do a season 15 versus 21. You know, you have
the worst.
One side of the house is 15, and
this is favorites versus definitely not favorites. All the worst players ever. The worst season we ever had.
All the people you hate, they're bad.
It turns into a clan meeting. It'll be awesome.
On Big Brother.
What would CBS do now? It's like we got to cancel the season.
I thought that the stuff that happened last year with Kemi was way worse than the stuff that happened with Aaron.
It's because like the people from 21 were at least kind of smarter about how they approached things, and CBS kind of stepped in and kind of gave them warnings, even though they did what they like. They
had the benefit of warnings. Aaron had no benefit of warnings.
No, right? Like they got warnings, and they were told straight up. Like they had like conversation with them. They just didn't care at all.
Oh, really?
Aaron,
okay. I'm not here to defend Aaron, but
on the ground, was super personal toward what was her name?
Helen.
No, it wasn't Helen. It was there was a black girl.
Yeah, and he's like, "Don't girlfriend."
One who wore the clown.
They hated each other.
Yeah, they hated each other. And then, but it was like it wasn't even them. Like, it was like Andy said stuff too. It was like a whole bunch of people.
And Amanda.
And Amanda too. Amanda said stuff too. Like
the only
one. Oh yeah, the only one who didn't say anything supposedly was McCrae, which was why they should have brought McCrae back.
Because they all hated Helen that much that they were all racist.
It wasn't Helen. It wasn't even
Candace.
Helen.
Oh, and what's her name? Candace?
Yeah.
Candace.
Yeah, it was Candace. They hated Candace.
But it wasn't even just Candace. Like they hated like anyone against them, right? They even what's Rachel's Alyssa? They hated Alyssa too. Alyssa was my friend, and then I found out that she was sisters with Rachel. That was the ultimate betrayal. It's like, come on. Right, I can understand you don't like Alyssa because she is pretty like annoying in general on the feeds, but like that's
her for the
weakest of reasons. Of reasons, right?
Yeah,
but like also like remember Howie? It was Howie.
Howard. Yeah,
back to back.
We'll have a Big Brother 15 revisit. It doesn't get enough press, I think.
You were gonna say love. You're gonna change it.
It doesn't need love. It needs I don't think it should be like put in a box and thrown away forever. Like I feel like somebody from that cast should have been here.
Spencer Clausen. That's who they should have brought back. The guy who went on the block every single time and never got voted.
Spencer also talked a lot of crap about people too.
Yeah. I don't like Spencer either. But McCrae was the only one I liked, and even he was not always great
because he was tied with Amanda too.
Yeah, he just spent like the whole
slept and had sex the whole summer and got third place. It made no sense.
And kept singing songs, and they were like, "Stop singing songs. We don't have copyright."
He should have been a pool boy, not a pizza boy. The way he was sleeping with older women. I'm the realtor. Oh, look, the pool boy is here.
Amanda was only 28 when I thought she was much older when she was.
She seemed like it. Definitely.
It seemed like she was like 35 at least.
She's like been smoking 5 packs a day since she was 12, so she's run some city miles on.
Dr. Girlfriend is what you're saying.
She got some city miles.
Can you change the wordings underneath to say city miles? On the bottom?
You got some city miles on.
Amanda has city miles. Oh my gosh! All right, well,
That was
you-
a fun trip down memory lane.
who do you
Yeah,
want to
that's
win
great.
HOH tomorrow?
For me, Case or Janelle, like I want that side of the house to win. Like I want it to go back and forth, like HOHs and stuff. But like I want like that side to win. Then I want like the Cody side to win. Then you know what I mean. Like
I want to see it go back and forth. I don't want to see either alliance dominate this house. That's what I don't even care. I don't care who wins. I obviously want my draft picks to win and those kinds of things. But I guess I just don't want to see a boring game. I don't want to see a majority alliance run the table. All those kinds of things. And then you have all these outliers who are trying to just get a sniff at being like sort of picked up by somebody who wants to go against the big alliance.
No, you get it worse. Every week it's like we're going to team up, and then it looks like they're going to team up, and then it falls apart, and then the dominant alliance just runs over everyone. Like last year, where it's like, oh, is Cliff and
Nicole
going to do something? And it's like, nope, too late.
Right. They didn't play well enough. You have to be perceptive. You have to be able to read these situations. And I get it's hard. People go into rooms and you can't see them and everyone's whispering everywhere and everyone's having conversations all the time. But that's what you have to be paying attention to all the time in order to get ahead. That's why HOH is so great because you get up there with all the cameras and you can watch everything without being really noticed you're doing it. And I liked how Enzo, hey, we saw Nicole and Ian having that conversation. That's game. Like, hey, we got it. That's not good. We got to keep an eye on that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking for. I think we're all in agreement in terms of Janelle and Kaser or the other side winning, so that we can get some. We can see some fireworks. That's all we want. We just want some fireworks.
I just want to see Nicole go up because I want to see how much she whines in the DR.
Janelle wins and puts Nicole up. That'd be great.
And she's just gonna be, she's gonna be. Oh my god, I was afraid of.
Janelle's so overrated. That's what she's been saying on feeds.
Right. I couldn't handle any of Nicole Franzel's diary rooms tonight. Her whining about the fact that Kaysar and Janelle couldn't be on the block, and what's gonna happen? Our whole plan's falling apart. She reminds me of so many girls I went to high school with who would just whine to the teacher to get a better mark because they didn't like that they got a B. And it's just like,
let's break out the yearbook. Let's name names.
I always say this one, and I could. It'd be a whole.
Let's see some bodies.
Yeah, just can't take it. Okay, is there anything else that we should know about from in the house, Jeff?
Not really. I mean, not really.
Okay. All right. Let's just make a prediction tomorrow night. Who is the HOH? I'm going to write it down here in my book. Jaemeel, do you have who it will? It can't be Cody. So who do you see? We don't know what the competition is. It could be anything.
I was going to say Cody. I wasn't never going to say Cody. I'm going to say Kaysar. I'm hoping for Kaysar.
You're hoping for Kaysar, but will it be Kaysar?
Yes. Book it.
Booked. All right.
I hope it's either Kaysar, Janelle, Bailey, or Devon. I hope it's one of those people because then it'll, I think, at least be interesting.
But do you think it will be that person?
I think Nicole Franzel's going to win it just to piss all hell off. That's what's going to happen. And then she's going to be like, "Oh my god, now I have to put somebody up."
I love winning, but I hate putting them up.
But I hate it. Oh, it's tough.
I want a Kaysar. I want a Devon, or I don't even know what Devon would do with power at this point, but it'd be interesting to see. Declare
herself as the best Big Brother player of all time.
Yes.
And just retire.
Can I just put myself in the Hall of Fame right now? That's it's going to be I think you're right. It's we all kind of want it to be sort of the Kaysar side right now because we want to see this get interesting. But I'm going to pick Tyler as my pick for tomorrow's HOH. I think he's I think the fact that nobody's looking at him more seriously as a threat is interesting as well. Maybe because everybody has a final 2 deal with him, but we'll see. All right. Well, we're going to be back tomorrow night to talk about the eviction. So we're doing 2 podcasts tomorrow night. The first one will be here at Super Mater Brothers Podcasting. We'll be covering the eviction, and then we'll be jumping over to Live Long and Podcast, where we'll be talking about the second episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, which is the new animated series based on the Next Generation episode called Lower Decks, which is all about a group of ensigns on a starship in the TNG, the Next Generation era. So if you're into Star Trek, check that out. And we have a whole bunch of stuff over on Live Long and Podcast related to Star Trek. I won't get into all of it, but there's a lot. Multi-podcasts a week. Here on Super Mater Brothers Podcasting, we talk Big Brother Survivor and other scripted TV shows that don't relate to that. And we have our third channel, Trivial Debates, which we do kind of a debate fight show at the end of the month. We do that on the last Sunday of each month. So check out that if you're interested in that. We talk movies, TV, music, sports, and more. So, you can subscribe at Trivial Debates. All our channels are cross-linked, so easy to find all of it. All right. Well, I think that's it for tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow for the live eviction. Here we go.